What's good, everybody? It's your boy Disco Wonderland. Welcome back to the channel. And for today's video, guys, we're going to be talking about the main difference between Dbfz and Guilty Gear Strive, and how that might actually affect players who've only played Dbfz as their first fighting game coming into Strive. Before we get to the video, guys, remember, like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Helps your boy out with the algorithm, all that good stuff. And with that being said, let's get into this video. So guys, with Guilty Gear Strive being a hot topic as of late, there's going to be a lot of players from different games willing to try the game out. And a lot of those players are going to be Dbfz players. And what I wanted to speak on today is something that I think Dbfz players might struggle with, since Dbfz might have been their first fighting game ever. And that is the discussion of system mechanics. If you've been living on the rock, if you haven't played Dbfz at all, Dbfz has system mechanics such as super dash, vanish, reflect, sparking, all types of stuff. Now, Dbfz is a good game. You heard it from me. It's a fun game. Terrible netcode, but it's a fun game. But the main issue, and I've seen this pointed out by a lot of top players, such as Lord Knight, Aliyun, Nokami, etc., etc. The main issue when it comes to Dbfz is the fact that you're not only playing the person and the characters, you're also playing against the game. And what I mean by that is, you're constantly having to look out for super dash. You're constantly having to be looking out for raw tag. From what I know, I've been playing fighting games my whole life, and from what I remember, from what I can recollect, I have never seen a fighting game where there's a tool that allows you to get in on your opponent basically for free. And what I wanted to highlight is the fact that just looking at super dash and raw tag and vanish as a concept, those tools in Dbfz are crutches, because they represent an idea had by Arxis and the team who worked on Dbfz. It represents an idea where, okay, the player might come across a situation where they don't know what to do and they don't know how to approach their opponent. So what do? Okay, since it's Dbfz, we'll give them a move, Super Dash, where they allow them to get in for free. And Super Dash can be pretty scrubby. I've seen a lot of cursed Super Dashes. I've seen Super Dashes that won games. I've seen random vanishes that won games. And honestly, to be real, you just don't normally see stuff like that in fighting games. We've seen things like comeback mechanics like X Factor and supers that do like 70% of your health, but there's never been a mechanic like super dash and all that other stuff that Dbfz has. So what I'm trying to say is, those kind of mechanics are crutches, and they form bad habits that won't get you far in different fighting games. So what I wanted to point out is, in Dbfz, because you have to fight against the game so much, you sort of take away the idea of playing against your opponent and their characters. Because in Dbfz, I would say personally, it's harder to point out different playstyles between players and their characters, because when you really break the game down, even though there are characters that are different from each other, a lot of the functions are still the same. That creates sort of a lack of diversity and matchups between players, because characters are relatively the same across the board. Whereas a game like Guilty Gear, where characters are literally different all across the board and they literally play their own game, and you literally have to learn every single matchup to even think about even being good at the game. Of course, there have been cases where top players have said, by the way, I'm not a Guilty Gear veteran, anything like that. I've always played the game casually. But there have been top players that say, GG is scrubby as well. But at the high echelon of play, you have to know your matchups. You have to know your character. And I feel like, in a way, while I wasn't totally lost with Dragon Ball, I feel like a little bit of diversity got away from the game, Whereas in GG Strive, within like first couple of matches, I played maybe like 5 different Giovannas, 3 different Rams. I was able to tell the differences between the players I was fighting against rather easily, because I don't have to look out for super dash. I don't have to look out for a random vanish. All I'm focusing on is the character and how that person is playing that character. For instance, I played against a Geo that was constantly in my face, doing lunges, that rolling kick she has, the overhead she has, just abusing all her tools. Just in my face, constant, fast-paced gameplay, right? Then I play against a Geo who was much slower, was more patient in neutral, wanted to counter poke me, and it was just a completely different vibe, a completely different experience. And that's what I sort of miss when it came to Dbfz, is the diversity between players. And I feel like because there's no over-reliance on system mechanics for Strive, we don't know that yet, per se. Who knows, RC might end up being super broken. But as you can tell, there's no system mechanic, there's no one system mechanic that's going to be a crutch for players to rely on. So now players, Dbfz players who aren't used to using their brains. I hate to make that joke, but it's true. A lot of Dbfz players didn't use their brains. They just super dash all day. But there's gonna come a point where a Dbfz player who's never played any other fighting game, they're gonna come across that point where they just don't know what to do. They're playing against a fucking ram like mine, who's hitting them with a sword from full screen, and they don't know how to get in. There's no super dash, there's no nothing like that to help them at all. So it's gonna be interesting to see how players adapt to a new brand, how Dbfz players adapt to a brand new fighting game like GG Strive. Fortunately, because GG Strive is so easy to get into, they probably won't have that much trouble at all. Actually, honestly, I think Dbfz players and players who have never played Guilty Gear in general, I think they're gonna do really good in this game because of the fact that it's so easy to get into. It's pretty straightforward in terms of gameplay, but it's also deep enough with the RC system, the ability to decide whether to wall flat or to keep the corner. I think there's a lot of things about GG Strive that makes it simple, but also still unique, which I think makes Guilty Gear a fun series, you know. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for this video. Just to wrap things up, I really do believe in my heart of hearts that Dbfz players will do good in this game. It's just going to take a lot of time, a lot of patience, and a lot of hard work and dedication. But I feel like this game will reward you for taking the time to get better, learning matchups, etc., etc. But with all that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please like, comment, subscribe. It helps me out so much with the algorithm. It helps my videos get seen by more people across the world. Also, if you want to follow me on other social media platforms such as Twitter, Twitch, etc., etc., all links will be in the description box below. With that being said, guys, it's been your boy Disco Wonderland. I hope you guys have a good one. Peace.